protecting Main Street from Wall Street. It's Chris Hoffman with Money Unleashed.
How much money do you put into your checking account from work on a month-to-month basis? It has a high probability that with your investable assets, we can replace that paycheck.
It's time to put you back in control of your money.
You've worked for 35 years. It's time for you to not stress. It's time for you to enjoy and live the retirement you want to live.
It's Money Unleashed with Chris Hoffman on WSB.
This is Money Unleashed with Chris Hoffman at the Hoffman Financial Group. UnleashYourMoney.com is the place to find us, or 404-341-6767 is our phone number. Now, there are different fears for different times in our lives, and we've talked about some of the common retirement concerns, but the idea is to help realize that, with the right financial plan, you can face down those fears. A recent survey from investment manager Schroders found that roughly a quarter of respondents yet to retire felt that not having a regular paycheck is, and I quote, terrifying. Now, Chris, Hoffman Financial Group helps people make that transition from amassing those retirement savings to the distribution phase and mitigate that pre-retirement panic that many could be feeling. It's one of the main reasons you have that Replace My Paycheck challenge, isn't it, Chris?
It is. And I can tell you, I don't think there's anybody that's not terrified in hanging up their cleats and that paycheck doesn't come in, that next 2-week cycle or whatever payroll cycle you're on. Everybody, including me. So I look at my own portfolio and I say, all right, I don't know if it's 8 years, 10 years, or 20 years when I'm going to retire, but I look at it and I always associate it back to how much income can I generate for my family if, God forbid, I was not able to go back to work tomorrow. And that's replace your paycheck. It's not that complicated, folks, to get a consistent understanding of how much income you can generate on a highly reliable level. And I know interest rates change, right? We used to get 3-month treasuries used to be paying 5.3%. Structured notes, we had a range of those, and they were more than double that treasury rate that I just quoted. Bonds, when interest rates were rising, you were getting a higher payment for those. And now that's starting to come down because they're lowering interest rates. But there are other tools to look at and consider. So to work with a fiduciary advisory team that basically builds this into their practice, and I would ask any fiduciary advisor you sit down with, I would have them walk you through in great detail exactly how they build an income plan for you in retirement. And you want to hear, we are going to run multiple iterations of your Social Security strategies to make sure you and your spouse trigger at the right time. They're going to ask you about pensions. I got a call from a client last week that said, oh, I have a pension. And I said, okay, how much will that pension pay you in a lump sum payout? Mm-hmm. She gave me that number. Then I said to her, now tell me how much income they will pay you on a monthly and annual basis for the rest of your life, just on single life. Why did I say single life? Because I pulled up her account and looked at her age versus her husband's age. He's older, and typically men pass away first. So I let her know, what if we made the assumption that you will outlive your husband and we paid you your pension payout for the rest of your life? That astronomically beat the lump sum. And obviously, I would love to manage the lump sum inside the portfolio, but that's not the best decision for her.
Right.
So it was like, anecdotally, I think she was in her early 60s, and the crossover was about 9 years out. Mm-hmm. So is it highly likely she'll live till she's 70? Yes, we certainly hope so. And if she lives to 70, then she's in their pockets. Or 72, she's in their pockets until she passes away, which is great. The other great part about collecting a guaranteed income stream off of a pension is it's guaranteed. Mm-hmm. You don't need to manage it. You don't need to worry about the stock market, the bond market, interest rates, etc. So we landed on, hey, go back, trigger single life, basically a single life annuity on the pension, and milk it for the rest of your life. It wasn't also a disproportionately large mix of her total net worth, So it wasn't like I was restricting her from that cash, and that was going to choke the rest of the financial plan we put together.
It wasn't solely dependent.
Yeah, exactly right. So she could go without that lump sum. We already had her financial plan built without this pension in it. So now we can add that to the income stream, and that'll help to offset inflation. It'll create a more comfortable income stream for them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Again, back to the point. Are you having conversations with your financial advisor about how they're going to build an income or a distribution plan for you? And that not only involves when it's going to be sent to you, how it's going to be sent to you, from what bucket, taxable, tax-free, or pre-tax, and what level. What level will all of these financial products and my financial life pay me consistently on a month-to-month basis or annual basis? If your financial advisor is ignoring that conversation, they're probably also ignoring the protection rotation side, which has me on edge right now a little bit with our clients. Because to be honest with you folks, the stock market has exploded over the last 5 years. We are not going to look that gift horse in the mouth. We want to preserve that capital, but we have the task of preserving it but continuing to grow your money. Mm-hmm. Is your financial advisor that you're talking to right now mapping it all out? Does he have or she have solid growth targets for you with your current portfolio? Do they have a protection strategy for that portfolio where you will not get wiped out if the S&P 500 tanks? And can you generate healthy and reliable amounts of income to pay for your lifestyle and retirement? If they're not checking those 3 boxes, if they're just looking at your portfolio and going, hey, it's growing, well, I got news for you. Everybody's portfolio is growing, right? I mean, it's not too hard over the past 5 years to have grown your portfolio. No. So that's not the end of the game. Keep it growing, add protection layers in there, and generate a full and robust income plan, and that should serve you well in retirement.
Yeah, and it all comes back to that old saying, another tried and true hit on the show, and we play the hits. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. So you've got to have the strategies, not just to grow your money, but also to protect your money. But when it comes down to it, and you do, and you are ready to clock out for that last time, and you are thinking, okay, the paycheck's going away, so what's next? That's exactly why the Replace My Paycheck Challenge is here, to make sure that you're able to maintain that level, that continuity that you've come to expect, and that you're able to not worry with where the money's coming from, because you have created a full financial plan that takes into account the different sources of income you need to fund that retirement, and so you can avoid that number one fear of retirees, which is outliving your money. Now, something interesting from Gallup before we gallop on out of here, Chris. According to its latest economic and personal finance survey for 2024, 3 in 4 retired Americans say that they have enough money to live comfortably. That response is consistent across the 23 years that Gallup has been tracking views on retirement. Those yet to retire, though, they see this differently. Those expectations shift from generally positive to more on the negative side. Just 45% of non-retirees polled by Gallup this year say they'll have enough money to live comfortably when they retire. Chris, you work with many clients in both of these categories, so why do you think this is, and how do we bridge the gap between the retirement reality and our expectations?
Yeah, so there's a lot of statistics you're throwing out at me today, and I'm going back through my notes. In the previous segment, you talked about Charles Schwab that said only 1 in 4 Americans have a financial plan. So that includes retirees and people still working.
Yeah.
And this breaks it out into 3/4 of retired Americans say they have enough money to live comfortably in retirement, but only 45% of non-retirees polled say they'll have enough money. This all boils down, folks, to us opening up the offer to people that are still working that don't have $500,000 or $1 million or $2 million. I'll tell you, the 3 in 4 retired investors or folks out there or families out there that are very comfortable saying they're going to be fine in retirement have multiple millions of dollars. I feel it. I know it. I'm just going to say it. But for the rest of us, for the hardworking middle class of America that are struggling and worried about future tax rates, future stock market direction, inflation to feed your family and to travel and live a reasonably enjoyable life, You folks need a plan, and that's why in the previous segment, and I'll reiterate it again right now in case people were in the car, out of the car, and missed it, but for the next 10 callers, even if you do not have $500,000 in assets, it's time for you to embrace the money you have and to allow us to generate not only an X-ray so we can show you what's in that portfolio, but more importantly, let us generate the beginning of a full financial plan to guide you into retirement. We are not just a company that manages retirement assets. We help people to retire. That's one of the most enjoyable things we do at Hoffman Financial Group is we open up people's eyes to the reality of you don't think you can retire, but you have more power than you think if you put together a very good, solid financial plan. And ask yourself today, who's doing that for you? Is your 401k company calling you on a quarterly basis and saying, hey, I want to update your full financial plan? No, they're working with the masses, folks. There's billions and billions of dollars that they're managing, and they don't have time for somebody with $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, nor will they offer full financial planning services, including an income plan. They will not talk to you about potential tax burdens that you're going to face. They won't want to address later stage of life expenses. Folks, all of this is extremely important, and it's not just your level of net worth that dictates how much you need to put together the plan for your future. Now, that plan may involve, yes, we need to amp up and make the right investment choices and make sure we navigate these markets to grow your money. That certainly is part of our full financial plan, but it's also about protecting what you've earned, generating an income stream for you, and avoiding taxes moving forward. You deserve it. We'll bring it to you. Call us at 404-341-6767. We'll set you up for an appointment with one of our advisory teams.
Chris Hoffman is an investment advisor representative of Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc., an SEC-registered investment advisor. Registered investment advisors and investment advisor representatives act as fiduciaries for all of our investment management clients. We have an obligation to act in the best interest of our clients and to make full disclosures of any conflicts of interest. Please refer to our firm brochure, the ADV2A, page 4, for additional information. The Hoffman Financial Group, Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc., and WSB Radio are not affiliated. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. This information should not be considered tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a professional specializing in the field of tax, legal, accounting, or investments regarding the applicability of this information for their situation. Any client experiences discussed during the show are unique to that client. They are not meant to imply or suggest you will experience the same results. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Any comments regarding safe and secure products and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to the claims-paying ability of the issuing company and are not offered by Brookstone. Hoffman Financial Group is not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. Investments will fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Insurance licensed in Georgia, number 163546.